Owen Sound. Look at you. Such a good looking place. Are you feeling good? You doing all right? Lovely. Isn't this the most fun thing you've ever done in the library at 9 p.m.? Yeah? Yeah? I feel a little bit like a rebel right now. I'm like, oh my goodness. Am I allowed to speak into a microphone in the library at 9? Yeah. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it. Uh, I'm just here to have a lot of fun. You know, I've come from Vancouver, which is like not close to Owen Sound. So I'm tired, but I love poetry a lot, and my heart is really big. Sometimes before I get on stage, if I'm feeling like any sort of nervousness or if I need to like ground myself into intention, I'm like, like my heart is like way bigger than this room. Like I could, yeah. Like I think about Care Bears. I don't know if y'all are like 90s babies. I'm like, I could definitely like Care Bear stare like at least down the street, you know what I mean? So we're gonna do okay. We're gonna do okay. Thank you, Stuart, for that lovely reading. Thank you for like the amount of literary faith that you have in dogs, the opinion, like the literary opinions of dogs. Like I wanted to have a conversation with Lily, the dog, about so many poetic things. Thank you, Sarah, for the strength of the intention in your reading, and thank all of you for like still being here and like for exercising your faith in poetry. I will not let you down. Yeah. Let us begin with a testimony to love. That sounds very churchy when I say it like that. I just mean that I write love poems sometimes because I am a hopeless romantic. You know, given that I'm not from here, like the question is often like, oh, like where are you from? Like, oh, like where you been? And then I'd be like, oh, I went to Ottawa for school, and then I went to Edmonton, and then I went to Vancouver, and then I have to be like, oh, I went to Edmonton because I fell in love with a poet, and then I moved over there, and then we broke up, and then I fell in love with another poet, and then I moved to Vancouver. So it's like a very like on-brand but very expensive way to see the country. Like, I don't want to do it again. So this is the Edmonton love right here. This poem is called "I Had a Dream for Us." I had a dream for us, a private world, fragrant as a garden, luscious as spring. I had a dream of us rising as sunflowers twinned, stems entwined like dancers' limbs, thoughtless, but for the logic of joy. I had a dream of us in a river, a strait, a channel, as water folded over us like hands, like prayer. I had a dream of us swimming, nearly naked, our bodies slick, lithe as seaweed. I had a dream of us praying, silent in our devotions, our God separate but alive. I had a dream of us as children, cherubs, babies, ageless, fattened by laughter, feasting always on mirth. I had a dream where stars did not blacken, did not char our hands. You plucked the stars like fruit, fed me from their nectar. My mouth, sweet with wine, electric. I had a dream of us as drunkards, babbling like elders, like singers, like water over stones. I had a dream of us in a garden of our making. I dreamed my hands thrumming the soil. I had a dream of us kissing, always kissing, the soil of us, naked of smell. My hands, elegant, stained by earth, and you in the garden, fertile as spring, with me, with our mouths, planting seeds. Thank you. Aw, you all are very kind. This next poem is inspired by Beyonce. Not really, not really. Slow down, slow down. Like a little bit, like kind of, like. Anyway, I I really enjoy when like the women and like the femme folks in my life get excited about stuff. I like gatherings of like feminine power, and Beyonce is like one feminine power that the world seems to like to gather around. And so I was like, yeah, Beyonce, you're onto something. I'm gonna write a poem. I'm gonna, you know. I have heard my sisters frenzied, singing to summon Orishas to an ocean center. I have heard then, joy crest like a wave, pulse sonorous, symbol the earth. I have seen the goddess open like a full sky, a celestial mouth, seen her spindle lightning to a single crackling note. Have you heard, brother, the song that melts the nightclub to honey, that sticks the walls to glistening with the labor of 1,000 bees? Have you heard the trumpet moan, cry out, torch the evening red, the flute shrill with pleasure, plume the air with orgiastic witness? Do you see, sister, the songs of praise misting the windows of this temple? Look, sister, how a single quill of sound can read my limbs ecstatic. And what is a body but divine machinery tuned finely as a cello's bow to pleasure's asking? Look how the goddess uses me. Look how I billow with the breath of unwritten song. Turn your head. How many instruments we are. Feel the room sway, roll at our insistence like thunder through graying womb of cloud. Together, aren't we as irresistible as rain? Is heaven a symphony, an angelic gushing? Look how firmament wells with the water of our chorus. Aren't we a storm? When we move and the sky trembles, torrents our elation. Look how the world shifts, sister. Look how the world shifts when the goddess flows. So I read from a book to prove my literacy. You know, my student loans are very expensive, and so I'm like, look, it's worth something. And now to enter the 21st century, I'm going to read from a device. Yeah. Let's see how to make this work. Okay, Brandon, you're on stage. Don't let him see you sweat. Okay, hold on. All right, there we go. I know how to use this. Yeah. This next poem is called Whatever Splits a Raindrop into 14 Splattered Gemstones, or something more efficient than that eventually. We'll see. You know, as a poet, as a human being, yeah, more so as a human being, I'm just like deeply lonely sometimes, you know? Yeah, you know that feeling? Yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah, thank you, Janice, thank you. And like poetry is the way that I shepherd or marshal intimacy with the world when like humans are letting me down, you know, like poems, I can be like, yeah, come closer, you know? And so this poem is like about maybe like a soul-crushing but also a soul-edifying, soul-uplifting closeness or proximity to nature. It goes like this. Yes, voices and water say ever, ever, where the moon says, remember me? Its own kind of listening, a call and response always tugged towards the moon's sirening, which is restlessness, as seas are never quiet, never still. The memory of seas, oceans full of drownings, gather into my still human ear, as unknown destinations relent to fluid, to listen like water, against windshields, the necks of birds, the spokes of umbrellas, and then plummet into the whims of stone, to listen briefly for the heavens, to listen like rain from the purple heft of cloud. What would it mean to listen an inlet, a river bent towards an ocean's mouth, the slope of a hill, the pull of gravity into a familiar rush, like rainwater searching for direction? Without this fear of forgetting, this loyalty to soil, what sort of animal would I be? What if I made myself the sky, my mind its stars, to say, here, worm, huddle close, lock me in small rooms of wind. The animal I am now speaks spring like a bird, says only berries, nest, twig, flight. My right foot savors the earth's pulse, knows this body will forget everything it has touched, is afraid to be alone. I want to trade my eyes. I want the stillness of forests, suppleness of moss, a sparrow nosing shrubs, grow something green from the trail I leave in dirt, furnish a nest for my broken eyelashes, the husk of a footpath, for an osprey's eyes, fill my mouth with feather and gristle of wings, change my breath, mistrust human speech. Rain passes like spilled seeds through my hair, burning holes into the night. I want to breathe among the poplars, coax their dark trunks, lance a finger toward the moon, a billion insatiable questions. Tendon white moon, magpie feather sheen of night, evening darkening like burnt olive oil. Listen, patient as a stone, make my eardrums supple as moss. Try to touch, gather every near silence into myself. A neighbor's Punjabi squeezing through a window, a northbound siren warbling, cars hissing through rain-speckled alleys. I want to recall the hours, recall even these grief-blue months, but all memory is of touching or being touched. In this year full of it, my grief could fill a postcard or hang like a grocery list on my fridge. Blueberries, the 2-year absence of my father's voice. Almond milk, my hips harnessed to the same gray couch for 18 months. Ciabatta buns, hummus. In my new city, all I've learned is white walls, a silence I cannot renounce. My mind open like a public pool with a single child doing laps inside of it. In the absence of coffee shops, I've claimed bird sounds, the red underwings of woodpeckers, the dark shape of 200 crows. There are millions of people who took care to wash themselves before prayer this morning, who set reminders to call their grandmothers before each falls asleep. This, too, is a way to measure time, breath, while I let my pillowcases brown like rotting apples until my body is a dark peninsula, my bedsheet a bruise of sweat. O grief of the untouched body, O grief of the untouched body, wail, give yourself to thirst. Touch is a small heaven of choice. Bust the dark mirror of sky, beckon rain to fall like fingertips soft against my neck. The blushing, dusty moon of a peach in my palm is enough to make my body an oracle, promising entire orchards. O sky, be as generous as berries. Open this night like a pomegranate and gush, seed and flame, red into my mouth. Let moonlight bleed. Turn my pores to windows of stained glass. Blur me into an ecstatic picture. Smear my edges. Lust, make me a poorly developed photograph. Press me soft. A saxophone's glittering button, make me thus yellow, thus ochre and golden. Breathe into me until I spill sound. Relax the fists my stomach has eaten. Smooth my red knuckles to blue studs of water. Jolt me into a twilight where arnicas bent in gusts of wind might envy the curve of my spine, the sheen of my back, dappled in sweat and rain. Let all who touch me drench me. I'm just trying to work out these long poems, you know? Yeah, that's all I can say. So you're gonna get like one more long poem. I hope it wasn't too long. We're still here? We're still grooving? All right, cool. I thought so. I mean, I'm humble, I'm modest, I'm sorry. I'll read 2 more. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Ooh. All right, this next poem is called Spectacle of Hungers. And I don't mean to alarm you, but it's like, you know, Leonard Cohen is one of my favorite poets. Cool. Yeah, I don't like his music, but his poetry is great. Yeah. You agree? Oh, you like both? Okay. 1 for 2 isn't bad. That's okay. The reason I like Leonard Cohen is because I think he is one of the last century's best spiritual grovelers. You know, like his oh God. You know, like it means something. You know, and so not to say that I'm channeling Leonard Cohen in this poem in particular, but I am spiritually groveling in a way that I find rejuvenating. You know, what choice do we have? Come on, capitalism. You know, life. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really a happy guy, I promise. Anyway. Spectacle of Hungers. I've never read this poem out loud, so this is a Owen Sound exclusive. Yes. Until the next time I read it. But yeah, for today. Each day opens in my blood a fresh weather, where I am honey drunk as an infant bee, my hair gemmed with magnolias. I too have a mouth to name dawn, a tongue's fluid muscle to flex for want of juice-wobbled teeth. Born into September's frenzied light, vanishing, my earliest prayer, O God, let me drink. I too have a mouth to name dawn, a tongue's fluid muscle to stretch for want of juice-wobbled teeth. Wind tastes my wrist's naked pulse. I taste air bruised pink with want, with rows of blossoming dahlias. I could have been among the earth's frail and dying things, a strand of hair tamped in asphalt, feathers graying on a squab's neck, a river arthritic with metal, a canola field speckled with atrophied bees. But I have been made, O God, an altar to hunger. My second prayer, may I split the moon, an unripe grapefruit, and gorge. I want the precision of pigeons plucking breadcrumbs from the dark grooves on coffee shop patios. I want the calm of lilies, but near still afternoons startle me. Small buzzing of saws, horseflies, occasional bees, even as I am oak still, fescue greening the calluses of my big toe. I am imprecise as gin careening a bloodstream, as fruit flies shaken from a stack of week-old dishes. Appetites jar me. What the living share with the dead, hunger, a bowl of rice and lentils near the stove, libations in a shallow glass. My third prayer, what is hunger's antidote? Lay my light-addled brain down, fling sleep like salt onto my windowsill, fold sleep like a dryer sheet into my sweater sleeves, crumple it inside a $10 bill and buy a used book of poetry, a midnight haul of sizzling poutine from an all-night food truck, roll sleep into a plane ticket. Where was I last fed? Edmonton, Montreal, Toronto, laid out like a baby on my mother's black leather couch. Hunger, like water and plastic, is already in everything. Dear God, how do I rest? I presume death is easier, at least, than washing myself every morning, my tired and twisted spine resenting the bend towards my feet, which need soap and aloe oil, easier than the grime and churn of subways, silver turnstiles shining with the grease of 10,000 hands, the snow-slick hips of workers shimmying towards chiming trains, looped robotic voices announcing stops, arrivals, easier than even simple things, keeping all four corners of a fitted sheet snug over a mattress. But then, the dead have their work too, which I've felt some nights when the moon is not a moon, but the perfect center of a spider's glistening web ensnaring me. I feel spirits breeze chill a bedroom doorway, stand too near me in the kitchen while eggs and black pepper jump in their cast iron pan. I have given so much of the night's chatter to the living, coyote howling on a city's brim, crickets violining for a mate until dawn, as if the legion of factory-slain chickens could not miss their wings, their coarse yellow feet, and go looking in old cages, as if the only ones singing always have a mouth and teeth full of spit, as if death were not a place with its own time, packed as a train platform at 7 a.m. Do not kill me, O God. Make me unassuming as sunflower seeds, molding in a bird feeder, as chickpeas left to soak overnight. Make me plentiful and nameless as powdered cinnamon, as a nerve ending, sensitive as the hair of an inner ear, unkissed as the back of a knee. Make me blood wet as a butcher's glove, stun me like morning breath, bleed me like a toothbrush raked over gums, show me every logic of feeling. Burn me under your thumb's blow, my fourth prayer. What is the opposite of blooming, of green? Give me that name. If silence is your name, O God, remake me as dust, as a bed bug nestled in a duvet. Make me faint as the piss yellow of an untied shoelace. Hush and gentle me, God. Hush and gentle me, God, as raspberry hair sprigged between molars. All I've called hunger is discomfort with quiet. There is noise in me bitter as pomelo rind. What is the use of a mouth? Only a clutch for sugar, a posture for kissing. If silence is among your names, my mouth's emptiness is not emptiness, but waiting, a call to prayer. Hunger's opposite is God, my closed mouth. Do not bruise my lips repeating mercy, 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 mercy. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. You know, I've been sitting with poets, I've been talking with poets all day, which is one way of saying I'm exhausted. No. Uh, just to say that I've had some enlivening conversations about craft and about like all the ways that poems can be a poem. And so I'm looking forward to like sitting at the big kids table with all the poets being like, oh, that metaphor was great. Oh, that second stanza needs some work, I want all of that. So I'm glad to be in your presence. The last poem I'm going to read is my favorite poem from my book. The poem is called Body, Anthem, and Prayer. And I am a visibly, physically disabled person. I'm also black. Hey, all the obvious things. And so it means that my body is sometimes, yeah, a socially contested space, a space that I don't know, society heaps its judgments and projections upon, a body that I won't say that I struggle to love, but it just needs some extra care. And so this poem is one of my favorites because it is maybe the most wholehearted prayer that I've said for my body in my entire 35 years on planet Earth. And so I hope you enjoy it. Oh body, rustle the air, bless dandelions with your long shadow, toss your reflected gaze into jars of honey, offer your fingertips like figs to the mouths of lovers, gather in your hair the ticker tape of cherry blossoms, give your scent to water, to a river, a tincture of your held breath. In every gesture, swim, make the chest a splintered seed, be a moonlight, a devotion, tireless as winter, be, if you must, singular anthem, soften the brutally human, sing with the corvids instead. Body, I unleash you from mere puppetry of flesh, unspool you, unscorn you, unmake your map of bruise, blood and dance you, nectar you wholly, unghost you, conjure and mystique you, unmyth you, elastic your bones, luster you, incant your latent shades, mango scent you, lilac your hair, tender skin you, essential you in oils, anthem and voice you, intone you, spark you divine with psalms. I untether you body from museum of race, unchain you from treadmill of capital, release you now into fields of marigold, the archways of sunflowers bending. Body, tired animal, I fill your mouth with water, blue silk you in spirals of wind. I reserve an anthem for joy, though it has no words. When I sing through my closed mouth, the song wells in my eyes, and the winged insects who sleep at midnight under porch light stretch themselves to hear. In the shadows of skyscrapers and the loom of blue glass towers, I stir the listless downtown avenues with an aria of footsteps, the instrument of my breathing rattling trees. I reserve an anthem, private as bedrooms, where unseeable verses tumble from my body's every gesture, and a single finger raised into the heat of my wife's waist becomes jazz. Even as I sleep and mosquitoes trouble the stillness of my face, I sing a hymn for the unseen world that holds together the human dance. My entire frame a grateful mouth, gushing quivered notes. I wake daily into this anthem, the chorus of my life. Thank you for listening, Owen Sound. Oh, thank you. I don't know how much time we have, but I'll be in the back beside my book if you want to talk about anything until the library people, which is a good name for a band, the library people, until the library people kick us out. Peace and love. Thank you for having me.